I'm a pretty straightforward person, and so I don't believe that we need to play any kind of strategy. I think I'm going to support just going to the Board of Supervisors with what our needs are, putting them forward honestly and straightforwardly, and trusting that they will meet us with the same spirit. And that I also don't believe that a needs-based budget means the absolute minimum that we need to keep kids alive through the course of a day, but rather what we need in order to provide them with the education that they deserve.
We are not trying to, quote unquote, keep kids alive, but we cannot put people in a position to either put education first or housing and food first. With that kind of gap, that's what you're asking. That you're asking the people, the citizens of Spotsylvania, to choose what's more important to them with that kind of gap, with not even thinking about maybe just lowering it just a little bit. You're asking them to choose between whether they can feed their children and keep a roof over their head, or have their children have a better education. Okay? I've been one of those people that have had a hard time, that didn't know where their next meal was going to come from. I know what that's like. And I'm sure some of us up here do that. We all know, I'm sure, at some point in our lives. But you know, when you have 3 and 4 generations of people living in the same household because they can't afford to live, just basic needs, food, shelter, clothing. We have people in Spotsylvania that don't have clean water. I don't know if, I know me and Miss Jackson's areas are a lot alike, but I know when I was going door to door, whether it's in Livingston or Berkeley, I have seen a lot of people that live in little rinky-dink shacks that I thought were sheds, but on the paper it said that somebody lived there. I couldn't tell you, and I mean, we're going to raise the taxes on these people? How are they going to, they're trying to live in a shack. These people probably don't even really eat. Bringing a needs-based budget was done for years, and we were flat funded for years. But you know what? When we started getting smart, and we were like, okay, the supervisors keep telling us, just try and cut some stuff out. Just try and cut a little bit out, and maybe we can work with it. Just try and cut a little bit out because there's no way. And you know what? That's what we've done for the past 2 years, and we've received more money in the past 2 years than we have received in Spotsylvania County from the supervisors, and God knows, I couldn't even tell you. Because we actually listen to them, we're asking them to listen to us. Well, we need to actually listen to them when they're telling us, when they're working with us, hey, lower it down just a little bit to where I can kind of wiggle with it. I can work with that. But here we are raising it even higher and pretty much spitting in their face. I mean, I'm not voting for this budget because I think that it's wrong.
We're not the ones responsible for raising taxes. That's not what we do. It's not our job. It is our job to present a needs-based budget. It is not our job to listen to the Board of Supervisors. Again, not meant to be disrespectful. I actually have a pretty good relationship with
Ms. Gillespie. Ms. Jackson has the floor. No one interrupted you.
There are new
You
members.
did, actually.
Okay, point of order, please.
Ms. Jackson has the floor.
There are new members on the Board of Supervisors, so I'm not holding anybody to the old standards, but the fact of the matter is we are not to blame for the failing and underfunding of the schools. That is us not getting the appropriations that we need to run our school division. And Okay, well, I've been watching for a while, so, yeah, well, anyway, if we're not going to fund our schools appropriately, then we are going to keep putting Band-Aids on all the issues. So if you don't want Band-Aids on the issues, then it's time to advocate for supporting the schools in the ways that we need to. Nobody wants to go to the Board of Supervisors with a $40+ million gap, but that is what we're facing right now. It is nobody's fault up here, but that's what we need to fix. So, yeah, well, you don't know till you try. You're talking about, all right. Be respectful. You're talking about the kids that need support in the county, but yet you're not willing. You think those families don't want their children educated? You think that, well, sure, they want them fed and they want them educated so they can grow up and have a good life and provide for their families. Nobody is pushing the SCA's agenda. This budget came from the superintendent. It is not even our budget yet until we approve it. So I'm just going to leave my comments at that. We're going to present the needs to the Board of Supervisors, and then we're going to work together after that. Thank you.
The other thing that I will say is that I had hundreds, maybe thousands of conversations over this past year, knocking on doors, talking to neighbors, going to events, hearing people, emails, social media, you name it, conversations. And what I know is that this community spoke with a very loud voice in the fall and said, we support our schools. And they sent us here to do exactly what this budget does, and that is put people in place that are going to do great things for kids. And it's about the kids. And we can't compete, we can't have the best people, and we can't do the things that we need to do to meet the needs of the children that are in our care unless we do the things that are in this budget. And our community has sort of demanded it, but they don't get to decide how much money we get, and we don't get to decide how much money we get. All we get to do is allocate the resources that we're given.
We do have this large budget gap. Yes, you know, the board seems to want to move forward with this gap, and I'm perfectly fine with that because these are our real needs, and we are tasked with developing a needs-based budget, and that's what we did. We've already hashed that out. We've talked about it for the past 2 or 3 times for the past 4 weeks, and so I'm okay with it.
If we don't make sure that we put forward a budget, which I believe that we have, that actually shows what our needs are, then the Board of Supervisors will never know what it means to actually properly fund this department. And so we have to do our jobs. We were elected to do that job, and I'm going to be voting for moving forward this needs-based budget.